how's it going? Happy New Year. This is Jack Devine coming back to you with another episode of Jacksnax. Thanks so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be snacking on Jack Straw by the Grateful Dead, okay? So, great tune, lots of interesting ideas to talk about, so stick around. All right, everybody, let's talk about Jack Straw. Before we get into the solo, let's take a look at the rhythm that we're playing over, all right? D major chord, B minor chord, A major, E major, all right? The big dog. All right, so great progression and definitely a long jam. So you got to understand what you're doing conceptually. You can't, hard to memorize a whole, like jams worth of solos. I did it for the lesson here just so that I could teach you guys a bunch of cool ideas. But what I want to do is take a second here to teach you how to approach the solo in general, and then you can see how my lines are going to fit into that strategy, okay? The hard part about this solo is that there's 3 chords that happen real fast up front. D major, B minor, A, and then it builds over that E chord and then goes back, and every time the cycle happens, you're thinking, I have 4 chords to navigate. D major, B minor, A major, E, okay? That's 3 chords, right? Dum, dum, right? Bum, bum, bum. And doing that every time for 3 minutes is a recipe for disaster, okay? It's really easy to get confused in there. So what I want to do is tell you, let's look at those 4 chords. I'll do it like this. 4 chords, right? D major, B minor, A major, E major, okay? This E major is going to be coming from the same scales that we're going to use over the A major, okay? A major and E mixolydian. Boom, we're going to make that into one idea. And the D major and the B minor, boom, we're going to make it a Vulcan logic. Okay, here we go. So now we've got, little nanu here going on, but what we got here is 2 ideas now. What we can also do is we can insert a 3rd idea in there and make 3 ideas happen in our solo rather than 4. Simplify when you can, okay? So over top of the first 2 chords, I want you to think 1 scale set, okay? It's gonna be, okay, those 5 notes, D major pentatonic, which by the way is the same as B minor pentatonic. Those 2 chords are relative major and minor for one another. They share the exact same notes, okay? So that's gonna be, and over B minor, we're over here, okay? So those notes are totally on the money, okay? You can't go wrong with any of those notes. Some are gonna feel more right than others and more resolved than others. So you still have to think about the 1, 3, and 5 of the D chord and the 1 minor 3 and 5 of the B chord. But what you don't have to do is reconsider the entire neck, okay? It's just those 5 notes that I want you to think about, okay? One idea. Then you can transition to thinking about A major. So D major pentatonic. Finally get to that C sharp. Try hitting the C sharp over the A chord. It works really well, okay? So, and then resolving into E, okay? Any of the E chord tones, all right? So D major pentatonic over top of the first 2 chords, and then A major, which includes, okay, its 5th mode of, is E mixolydian, which is the 2nd chord, okay, of the back half. You've got an A major and an E, okay? And that E is an E with, it's an E major chord, but we're not with a major 7. It's with a flat 7. Okay, we've got the D and the B minor, all right? And then within the A major scale, that's the A major's 4th, okay? That's completely intact, okay? So over top of the E chord, we're playing E major. But when we get to, we want to make sure we're playing E major with that flatted 7th, the mixolydian, okay? So we've got 2 ideas that we can basically break apart, all right, as much as we're capable of. But at its most basic, we could look at it like D major pentatonic, okay, E mixolydian. So, right, so D major, A, E. And you do not need to blow over top of everything. Let the band play behind you. It's okay to take a rest. It's all right to not have just an endless barrage of 16th notes hammering away at the listener, all right? Breathe. Breathe a little bit, all right? So that's the general strategy and the theory behind the idea here, okay? These two chords that make up the front half of the progression, all right? And then into there. I want you to concentrate on resolving from D into A. Right, that's the third of the A. Head from D major pentatonic. Head for a C sharp at any point in time. Then you're going to land on a nice chord tone over that A. And then we want to release the tension back into over that E chord. Make up little slow loops, okay, of just a chord going. And try playing along with that. Just 1, 2, 3. Make the changes over every chord, okay? D, B, A, E. That's how you do it. Nice and slow, nice and slow. Don't try to run before you can walk. Walk a little bit first, and then try working those patterns into a loop that you have set at tempo. By the way, I'm going to include my loop on a separate video so you can practice along to it. All right, let's move on to the solo, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, that's our first lick, okay? There's kind of two little parts to it, okay? We're going to come up to this D note. I use my ring finger. We're coming off the 5th degree of our E chord. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the downbeat of the D chord. Okay, so... Okay. There's a little grace note in there. I want you to take note of that. The rhythm of your line, super important. Those little tiny grace notes and little tiny dead notes, those things make the whole thing, all right? Without it, you lose a lot of percussive, personality, and rhythm is 90% of music, okay? The rest of it is just filling in. There's a little note here, okay? So... Second time through is very similar. We grab this pinky on the high, this E note here on the B string, rather. So... come up from the 2 into the 3 of our E chord, and then hit the E there, and then jump up here to the 3rd of that E chord that we're playing over, bend 1 fret from G sharp to A. Okay. So we just played, quoting that nice little line from the melody, right? And we're going back in for more. D, B minor, A, E, 2 times, right? So we're going to take this idea of 1, N triplet 2, N triplet 3, N triplet 4, this kind of rhythmic motif. Right, that idea. We're going to bring it up the neck. there's a few things at play here, okay? One, we're gonna be leading with our pinky when we shift to each subsequent arpeggio or shape or whatever you want to call these ideas, all right? And the right hand picking motif is like the mechanic that's behind it is consistent. So you should break it down at first just on one shape, okay? So let's take the D6 shape that everything starts here with. So down, up, okay? Keep the pinky kind of in reserve to grab every note on the high E string as we go up. Okay, so once the first note of the sequence starts on the high E string, we use the pinky to aid our cause. And also the last note on the G string, I find is easiest to use the middle finger, okay? And I'm a New Yorker, so I use this a lot. But as we move up the neck, it gets easier. But there is one section where we're gonna be doing that, okay? And that's kind of a stretch, okay? So let me show you the shapes. Over the D chord, we go D major pentatonic, B minor pentatonic, pinky comes up and grabs here, third of the A chord, okay, middle finger is on the E note there, okay, pinky then reaches up and grabs high E, high E pinky, C sharp, ring plays B, okay, index finger plays A, and then middle finger grabs G sharp. So far we've got okay, and at this point, the frets get small enough that you can stop using your pinky if you want to grab them. Or you can maintain using the same little kind of shape where you're using the pinky to grab and then the other three to fret using the last finger as on the G string as the middle finger, okay? Once we get to that B, the pattern stops, okay? All right, so that's how that works out, okay? D, B, A, E, D. All right, so we've made our way up the neck and we go. All right, that's our first time through from D to D, right? So we did so basically that's over the B and D the D and B section, right? And then we're going to bend up into the third of the A chord, and then over the E chord we're going to up to that D. Okay, so that basically is out of a D shape, but an E chord, right? I'm using the sus4. Okay, and this is again sus4, so it's octave lick. Okay, and then coming down here to the second of E. I think I did that. All right, so that's just the E chord shape, and we're just going 2 to 3, 5 to 6, 1 to 2, and then, right? So if we're doing Okay, now we're coming up to the downbeat of that. That's our next downbeat of a D chord is on the D note. So we went from this D up here, A, E, E, G. Okay, so that's from D to D, right? Or yeah, basically that's one time through the progression. So we're going, starting here at this D on our ring finger, remember? So D to F sharp, C sharp to A. Okay, so that's the root of the D to the fifth of the B minor to the third of the A to the fifth of the A to the third of the E, right? So that's what we're doing. Chord tones all on the B string, all using the same motif, right? Just the same way I use the same motif to climb up and do it, I'm doing the same little idea over the whole progression. I'm just taking a concept and applying it to the maze or the riddle, okay? So my answer is B string slidey ideas, okay? Over top of D major, B minor, A, E. So okay, next little idea from D to D, okay? So over the downbeat of the D, we already were here and we bent up. We're gonna be in this position. We just went, you know, right? We just did that 1 fret bend from C sharp. Pinky goes down, grabs the third of the D chord and what's gonna become the fifth of the B minor chord. Okay, that's over the A chord. All right, now we're gonna put our middle finger down and slide up to the third of our E chord. See how that's the fifth and the third of, so we're going from the second to the fifth to the root, to the third of our E chord. So D, A, on the downbeat of the E chord, we hit that G sharp note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Very important that you leave a little space between the D and B minor and then to the A pedal steel sounding lick. Okay, a little shift and a little rest. Okay, so now that's a downbeat with a downstroke, and then we start at 1 and triple at 2 and triple at 3 and triple at. Okay, this kind of idea. So down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, up. And I think. Okay, and so then we're gonna start with that E note there at the 14th fret D string and go down, up, slide, down, 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 up. And that is the fifth of the D chord that we're about to land on the downbeat, okay? So that would be. If we play it slow, okay? 1, 2, 3, and rest. Down. Downbeat, okay? Now that's kind of weird to end a phrase on a downbeat with an upstroke. Okay, but that's the 5 of our D chord. Back in a minute with that little number. Okay, there we go. More triplet madness, okay? So we just came up. Middle finger, A note, okay, at the 15th, 17th fret, sorry. Upstroke on the downbeat of our D chord. So, okay, so we kind of do a little position shift with our index finger, get back to the 14th fret. Okay, pinky comes up and grabs the tonic of the B minor arpeggio. Okay, so that's it. Okay, I think I actually wanted to play, sorry. That kind of thing, but I think I ended up just doing. So that's D major, B minor, A major. So that's going to be pinky grabs the 5, goes to 3, and then root of the A, and then over the E chord we chromatically go down from the 5. Then we're going to slide up with the index finger. Okay, bend up from D to E. So, something like that, okay? So once we get into that, so once we bend that D up to the E, we're gonna go, right? So that's a pull off and then back to the B string. Kind of like Standing a Stairway to Heaven's picking idea. So, but it's using it, you know, Mixolydian shape. Okay, we're all over the E chord at that point. Okay, so. And we end on this little dyad of the D with its third. Okay, that's our climax. That's the last little thing we do, kind of single note or even these like smaller upper fret ideas, okay? So it's still rhythm, right? And it definitely has a lot more energy than single note lines. And that's kind of the point behind this idea. So we're gonna start out going, so that's D, B minor. So that's 15th on the B and 14th on the E. Then 12th on the B and 10th on the E. Then we kind of throw our middle finger into the mix and hit that F sharp note. Okay, that's part of the B minor chord. So B, D, B minor, then A, and there's a little bliss to it. All right, now we're in this shape with the 1 and the 3, and we're going to slide up to the 17th fret. And that's our E chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we break into a triplet thing. Triplet, 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 triplet. Okay, and then we get into the second section of that, okay, where we're going to be going just all out tremolo picking. So that's over the D chord. We're going to start on its root and third and go and come up to its third and fifth. Then we're going to slide that same shape back to the third and the fifth of the A chord. Then come up to the third, fifth, and root inversion here at the, what is that, 17th, 19th, 20th fret. No, sorry, 15th, 17th, 18th fret. And then relaxing into finally this E chord shape at the 16th fret. And then we're going to break here with these two. Okay, so ring and middle finger form the third and the fifth of what would sound like a D chord, going chromatically up to an E chord. Then the pinky comes down on C sharp and bends 1.5 steps up to E. Okay, so all in, we've got triplet, 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 tremolo. Okay, if you have a 22nd fret, I suggest you use it. There's no merit in difficulty there. It happens to sound nice going from C sharp to E, but that's what I'm doing, okay? And then we break into some just straight up rock and roll rhythm, you know? Just me rocking out and enjoying, just taking the energy even one step further, okay? So so that's going to wrap up today's lesson. Thanks again for stopping by for a Jacksnack. I'll see you next time.